Ravenites, Kryptonauts, and ladies and gentlemen all around the world listening to us here in Twitter Spaces. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am here with Jake, and we're going to talk about some Evermore, some Ravencoin, some crypto, and everything else. So, with that said, what's up, Jake?
Oh, sorry. The same terrible problems I have every single time I try to connect to my phone on Twitter Spaces is that it immediately kills my headset and has to completely reboot.
Ouch.
I don't understand that. Twitter, if you're listening, please fix.
Fix it.
Anyways, I have been noticing crypto-wise, I guess that's what everything is that's going on here, is that Bitcoin is boosting. Where are you going, Bitcoin? What's so important?
Let's see what's going on here in CoinGecko real quick.
Ethereum and Bitcoin are both up Ethereum's up 13% and Bitcoin's up 5%.
Dude, look at that spike up, man. That's
it's huge. Yeah, something has spooked both of them for some reason, and of course that's carrying the rest of the crypto space with it, because where Bitcoin goes, most everyone else does.
Interesting.
But yeah, Ethereum, man, look at that. It went from it was sitting around 1,300, now it's at almost 1,500.
Yeah, I think actually yesterday the entire crypto market cap was like 980 billion. Now it's at 1.02 trillion.
Yeah, I just broke the $1 trillion cap again.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I did read a note from somebody that said that there was a prediction that before the end of the year, Bitcoin would hit 30,000 again. And I mean, I guess that's fine. But the only thing I feel like I regret when that happens, well, let me back up first. Today I was talking with my team for Jamperley Farms, and I was making note of a really interesting phenomenon. Now, we at the farm have a lot of really old cards. And the reason we have old cards is because they're cheap. Really, really, really cheap.
Yeah.
You can get really cheap cards. They're not as energy efficient, but that's not what I care about. I care about having to pay a whole bunch of money up front. Now, I could buy a bunch of 6900s, which, oh, by the way, if anybody didn't already know, we don't really have NVIDIA. We're primarily AMD. And that's because I like AMD's CPUs, not just their GPUs. So I have about 100, 110 580s with various other types of AMD cards, but mostly 580s.
How many?
And about 110.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that until today, or until the last few hours, for the last roughly 9 months, not 9 months, it was 6 months since Terra's collapsed, but pretty much since November of last year when everything started going down. The peak was in November last year. The productivity, particularly in the last 6 months, of any GPU, even the best GPUs like the 3090 Ti from NVIDIA, which I only know about because I check in on this stuff. Even the best isn't making even 50 cents a day. And I'm not even counting the cost of power, because the cost of power makes it worth almost nothing. Like if you live in a place where power is like 1 to 2 cents per kilowatt hour, which is pretty much only in the north along the Canadian border or in Canada itself, you're not making money off of your cards right now. You can't trade the money that you spent for the money that you made to break even. You can't even break even. I already know this, but I'm not paying for power, so I have a special deal. But the point I'm trying to make is that for the first time, if you don't account for power, which I don't, in a very long time, so like 5 years, this has been true. The first time in 5 years, CPUs have overtaken GPUs, at least older GPUs, in productivity. And it was really kind of like, what? Well, did I just see what I'm making 15, it's not a lot, 15 cents per day on a CPU mining Monero, and 11 cents per day on a GPU, 580 GPU, mining anything. That's the best I can do.
That's wild.
Yeah,
Is
that has not
is it?
happened in 5 years.
Yeah, is it because of just an oversaturation of GPUs on
Yes, yes. There's a
plugged into the
gargantuan
network?
number of GPUs on the on all network caches right now, and there's just so much. And everybody used to be on Ethereum, and now everything's spread out to everywhere else. For those who are willing to eat cost while they make nothing, which I am one of those people. I know that this is the best time, and I've said it. If I haven't said it once, I've said it a million times. The best time to mine is when you're not making any money because no one else is. And so
Yeah, I
you're
agree.
thinking, why would a person want to do that? Like that's dumb, right? No, I've never. Actually, that's not true. When I very first started this venture, I was initially selling as I made. I made more than I needed so I could sell it and pay the cost of my business. But since then, no, that's not. I've always just made coins and then sold them later when I needed to cover costs. So now I'm not. I can't make anything. I mean, my total income, my every single card running and every single CPU running right now brings in like a fifth of my total costs. So I'm eating costs right now, and that's not weird because I don't even want to sell this stuff. I'm not selling anything because I know that the price is going to go back up, and when it does, I want to be ready. In fact, somebody made this comment yesterday when we were talking about that in for the Evermore. What's it called? It's not timestamp. What
Snapchat?
the snapshot for the Evermore snapshot? Somebody made a comment about this kind of thing, and I completely lost my train of thought because I was thinking about the snapshot. Damn it. Um, anyways, uh, yeah, I can't. Shoot, I hate when I lose my train of thought. Anyways,
No worries.
I'm just trying to get at the fact that GPUs and CPUs right now are overpriced or are making more money, even if they're not making any money based on the cost of power, than GPUs, at least older GPUs. I think that at this point, the most money you can make off any GPU is like 45 cents a day, and that'd be like nice hash using Kapow. Um, and I'm making, I mean, well, at least the GPUs I have running are making something like 11 cents a day. So the best 3090 Ti, which is roughly four times more powerful than a 580 is, and that's not that weird, is only able to make revenue wise, not even profit wise, but revenue wise, like 45 cents a day off of that, and I'm able to make like a quarter of that at 12.
So Jake, today's October 25th. How much do those graphic GPUs go for right now?
A 580, I think is like 250. I haven't checked
Okay.
today, but in the last um, month, that was what the range was. Let me pull eBay and see if I can get like a used RX 580
And so
right
to
now.
ROI on that, it's basically impossible then, right?
Okay, here we go. This is really sad. The prices have dropped even further. Used RX 580s are going for under $100 right now.
What?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the used ones. There's a bunch of used ones listed. 8 gig AMD RX 580s from various vendors. 95, 95, 75, 85, 75, 55, 85, 76. Oh, there's one for
They,
$100.
they must be
So
charging a lot for shipping.
um, free shipping, $10 shipping, $10 shipping, $10 shipping, free shipping. Nope, not a lot.
Wow.
Um, so it's going for under $100 on average, or roughly $100 for a 580. Let's see what a RX 6600 XT goes for right now. Two 220, 230, 240, 250. So somewhere between 220 and 250. Yeah, 220, 220, 225. Oh, there's one for 200.
So right now, is definitely the time to be buying up GPUs.
Exactly. That's the point I was going to make. Was that this is the time to buy. This is the time to mine, even though you're not making money, but you weren't making money before. So nobody sells the same day. Well, I shouldn't say that's true. Some people do, but not a lot of people sell the same day and just pay their current cost because your electric bill only comes once a month. At least for most people it does. So if that's true, then what would you be selling the same day for, except to keep the coin? Maybe you just transfer your coin to your wallet, but you don't sell it right away. Some people do, like I said. Maybe you just put it at USDT or USDC or something, just so it doesn't fluctuate before you need to sell it. Which I've had that happen before. anyways, the thing I'm trying to get with all this is that the cost of everything is really really low, so it's the best time to mine, even though it's inexpensive to mine. So it's like once the values start going up, let's say per the concept I was making at before was that the price of Bitcoin back goes up to $30,000. What are people going to do again? They're going to start mining. They're going to start buying these cards up again, and then the price is going to go up, and then the value is going to go up, and then what you could have been mining right now for relatively cheaply, it's going to go. It's the cost of mining is going to increase as soon as the price of coin goes up. So it's not really. I mean, it's going to lag a little bit. There's going to be some delay in the increase, but the when it's cheap, it's the best time to mine because you can mine the coins cheaply, or you can even buy them cheaply, even if you're not mining. And then you just save it until the price goes back up, and then you sell it, and there's your profit. So
So what about something like Evermore? That's they're gonna have their Genesis block coming out. There's technically no value to that, so everyone's just having a future prediction that it's going to have real world value, and the expectation that it does. That's why people are going to point their rigs to it, and make create coins or mint coins, right? A lot of people are determined to actually hodl those coins because the idea is that it's not a token to be selling; it is a token to be utilized on the DeFi platform that Evermore is going to be.
there's always going to be people who are only in it for the money. There's no way you can stop that. It's just a factor of everything that happens. Some people
Mm-hmm.
are in it for money, but uh, as far as like the purpose of a thing, especially and coins definitely need a purpose. I think we've discovered this over the last particularly 4 years. If you don't have a purpose for your coin, then no one's going to be using it or holding it. I mean, unless it's a coin to be held. um, the some of obviously holding is staking so that you can keep the network up. But and proof of work like Evermore and Raven, you're going to have to be mining it. So people who are mining it, maybe they want to sell it. But I guess what I'm saying is the new DeFi concept about Evermore is, as we said before, it's Raven wasn't really DeFi; it was more asset based, and now we're looking at finance in Evermore. So there's going to be some people who are like, well, I moved all my coin over, like those people who are moving tens of millions of Raven, so they can get a snapshot. Um, those people are going to probably sell immediately, and we could very likely see, if there's any market at all, a drop in the value in the beginning. The one thing I remember this because this happened in Dynamo. Dynamo had a price of nearly $3 in the early days, and that's because there was very little market to it, so there's very little coins available. But as coins became more available, the price continued to drop. Now it did go back up in November of last year because everything was going back up because the price of Bitcoin went up. And so there was a spike up to I think almost $1.50 on Dynamo, even though there was barely a million coins in the market. Um, and obviously not even all those coins were available because a lot of them were being bought up all the time. But this is going to be true of Evermore. There's going to be some people who are just like, nope, I want my money, I'm getting out. But the rest of the people who are really interested, in my opinion, the same thing goes for Raven, as it were. Those who are really interested will hold. Will just keep the market to make it whatever they can make out of it. So
Yeah,
we
if I
shall see.
recall, Dynamo's peak was roughly around like 2,000 satoshis per Dynamo, and now it's currently a little under 200 satoshis, I think it is. So
Yeah,
it's one tenth of its current price.
there's not a lot of activity on it. There's just not a lot of
Yeah.
stuff going on, and that's
Well,
in my opinion the reason it's having problems. So,
it's just needs to be built out some more, and I'm sure that it'll attract some more people in it. But it's still the early days for that particular project, and I think it just has its current limitations on just the token itself. But yeah, for what the vision of what it's going to become, it sounds very promising. So yeah, it's something to obviously keep an eye on.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. We'll see. Obviously, we're talking about Evermore in general here, but I'm not 100% sure, but I feel confident that Evermore will be a good platform as it's based off Raven, right? And it's backed by the people who started Raven, so I'm sure it will go far. We'll just have to see what happens with it, but how people take to it.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of that, so Evermore snapshot occurred yesterday, the 24th of October, around what was it, like 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Pacific time, roughly
Hmm.
around there.
Roughly. Yep.
It was blocked what 2,510,000 on the Ravencoin blockchain. So what the initial idea was, and where a lot of confusion came into play at the beginning, was for the folks that are listening or watching. This is Evermore is a fork of Ravencoin that is going to be building DeFi on it, right? So there's going to be a lot of functionalities to be able to include smart contracts, more or less. And Ravencoin currently does not have that capabilities unless it implements P2SH. But it doesn't look like there's going to be that's not going to happen anytime soon. So having Evermore to be a more or less quote unquote test net for for Ravencoin. It sounds like a fantastic way to get started. JC, I see you. Give me a second here. So the snapshot occurred yesterday, and a lot of people were confused, like when can they get their coins. So the actual so what happened was they took a snapshot, and this you can easily do this on any Ravencoin QT. You just there's a snapshot command that you can input a number, take a snapshot, and you snapshot all the addresses. There it is, bing bang boom. So they're saving the top 50,000 addresses, which accumulates for like 98% of the total addresses out there. Doesn't mean that 98% of the Ravencoin ecosystem had the opportunity to get those, because there was some companies such as, and I'm going to say it, T0, that did not allow its customers to withdraw immediately. They had a hold for 10 days, unfortunately, because there was pretty much a mass exodus from T0 because people wanted to participate in the Evermore airdrop. So it was frustrating for a lot of people, disappointing. Some people were just hammered by that, dude. It was disappointing. So the Genesis block is going to occur in approximately 3 days. Yes, in 3 days, and they will have their QT out. People will be able to download that. The ability to start mining from the Genesis block, all that code will be out on that particular day. Right now, it is being held private until that day, and then it's all game from there. There's going to be no what's it called, pre-mine. It's going to be all just mine from the Genesis block. So that's we'll see what happens from there. Now there's already people considering. Keep in mind that Evermore is a fork of Ravencoin, so a lot of the code can easily be ported over to Ravencoin. So people are already talking about creating a pool from day one, because if you can create a pool with Ravencoin, you can easily take that same code and plug in with Evermore. All you're doing is just changing the script for the algorithm, and then bing bang boom, there you go, ready to go. It's not that difficult, you know. All right. So that's gonna be happening on the 28th. Yeah, that's all I got. JC, go ahead.
Hey guys, I listened to the recording from yesterday's discussion. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, um, and it was
Thank
also
you.
refreshing because it was so conversational. Like people just really chatting. So it was fun. Um, one thing that I think we need to make sure that people understand, um, because to me it's important that we've always said, hey guys, Ravencoin is awesome because it can do all these things without smart contracts. And we kept on saying smart contracts are a problem because they have so many flaws and they can be hacked and all that kind of stuff. And people don't understand them. And so now we're saying, hey, Evermore does smart contracts. And I think we need to clarify that because the thing that Evermore does is it does something like smart contracts, but it doesn't utilize smart contracts in the general sense. And I think the best way to describe it is they use the word, or at least I heard Mr. Wall Street say, uh, general purpose smart contracts are the problem. And so what Evermore aims to do is to do a lot of that same functionality, but with primitives, without getting into this weird code that only some people can read, and if you don't understand the code, then you're gonna get screwed. So basically, what if you want to create a smart contract for something, all you're doing is filling in yes or no answers, or like if it says, hey, do you want to do you want to collect royalties, yes or no, on what percentage, 5%, so you got all these fields to fill in versus a contract that you write from scratch. And if I understand correctly, there is no other blockchain that does that out there right now, to really get to that smart contract with primitives. And I think that's the edge. Because if Evermore was just doing smart contracts, I'd be like, okay, have fun. I don't want any part of it. Uh, but the way they're doing it is the same way Ravencoin handled the asset creation. You could have done a smart contract, or you could do it with primitives in Ravencoin. And so I think that's what Evermore is doing, and I think that's why it's different. And it's not just smart contracts; it's doing it better. Um,
Okay, that's great. So it sounds like everything's going to be done through core then, right?
Smarter contracts. Yeah, I follow what you're saying, JC. That the thing that I discovered recently, I think John and I talked about this, but not in a particular. Oh no, we did. It was 3 weeks ago, in 2 or 3 weeks ago, in one of our Twitter live spaces, was bogus smart contracts. Now, I mean, they're legit in the sense that they are actually a smart contract, but the problem is, as was my discovery when I looked into it, was it's called a honeypot. And without going into great detail, the point of a honeypot is to attract people illegitimately, and to something that they can't do anything with. And even though it may not hurt them horrifically, if a person buys a honeypot smart contract, that's where they're screwed. If they're just sent coin, like what I was sent, what looked like $1,000 in uh, multiple different coins to my Binance wallet. If I tried to exercise any of those coins, it wouldn't work, and it would never work, because the smart contract only allows for one address to withdraw. And this is where we get rug pulls from, right? Not necessarily honeypots themselves, but honeypots can be rug pulls. In fact, they often turned into them, because only one address can ever pull money out. And so people are like, oh, look, at somebody accidentally gave me, or maybe somebody deliberately gave me a whole lot of money, which they obviously did, but you can't operate on it. And that's, I think, what you're getting at, in the sense of more transparency in smart contracts. You say a person programs a smart contract to be very devious, which is what these honeypots are, and then no one can do anything with them. And so the reason you can't pull anything out, and so everybody keeps buying in, it drives the price of the smart contract up, even though it's illegitimate. But you can't tell that because not a lot of people are reading the code, and that's
I,
where we get these problems.
I guess I agree with that, but it's also, I mean, think of a legit smart contract that maybe has some stuff there that you don't realize, that you're buying an NFT, and then you find, 10 months later, that, hey, you were just borrowing the NFT, or you were just renting the NFT, and you had no idea, because
Yeah, no ownership. Yep.
it's all in the smart contract, and who understands smart contracts but the person that wrote it, right?
Yep. Right.
uh to that degree, anyway. So I think this is a really good solution. But the other thing, and I think you guys kind of touched on that a little bit right now, just a little bit ago, is I didn't realize that with Ethereum, when you have a wallet, you only have one address. But with Ravencoin and Evermore, when you have a wallet, you can have hundreds or several addresses. So therefore, and that's why people need to consolidate, right? So when you have a smart contract and you're tied to one wallet, you're completely exposed to everything in that wallet, right? Whereas Ravencoin has that extra protection because you've got several addresses in there. And that's funny because I never knew that until like this week. Um, but those little things, I think, can make a difference in making everything much more secure, right? We're talking about primitives instead of smart contracts, and then multiple addresses instead of a single address for a wallet.
Yeah, if I
Yeah.
recall correctly, Raven has a single UTXO, which has some like a branch off that you can create addresses, but it's still tethered to the original UTXO. That is the main wallet, and I forgot the actual the secondary protocol to that. but it still tethers back up to the main UTXO. Now with Bitcoin, Ravencoin, and soon to be Evermore, everything you're going to be allowed to create UTXOs one after another, infinite amount of UTXOs. You know, there's pros and cons to that. The pro is that you're decentralized. If you use one address to accept tokens, either through mining pools or through accepting assets from the public that you don't know, you don't have to expose your other wallets, your other UTXOs, and you can just transfer those back and forth to wallet A to wallet B, without there being any compromise there. If you have one wallet compromised, that's fine. You have your backup. So that's why it's always good to have two or three different wallets. One that you use for public, one that only you use for deposits, and you never actually send anything out of there. Because when you do expose that particular wallet as an through the blockchain. Um, the con to that is that when you have too many UTXOs within a wallet, all of those transaction when you're creating a transaction, say for example you're going to send 100 Ravencoin or 100 Evermore, there's a lot of data that is being held because it actually has to pull all those UTXOs from your wallet to push into the chain, and that's a lot of data. So it's always good to consolidate if you want to have a more affordable way of pushing the transaction through. As you saw, there was some people that were pushing billions of Ravencoin to participate in the Evermore airdrop or snapshot, and they were charged like literally a fraction of a penny. Man, it was crazy. You know, yeah, that's amazing just to think about, right? But as Jake mentioned before, like what if the value of the actual token goes up or the coin goes up, right? Say for example, what if Ravencoin goes to $1,000? That's amazing, right? But the reality is that it's still going to be just a few bucks in comparison to moving billions of dollars, right? And instead of a fraction of a penny, it's going to be a few dollars. So in when you think about it, it's not really that bad. But when you're creating assets, and I'm assuming with Evermore, the way that it looks like, we obviously nobody really knows what it looks like yet. But my imagination tells me that it's going to look very similar. It's going to feel very similar to what Ravencoin does when you're creating assets, unique assets, restricted assets. You're going to have that ability to create DeFi quote unquote contracts, right, on the protocol level. You're going to have that ability to select what you want to turn off or on, if you want KYC or not KYC, if you want to add airdrops or not, no airdrops, just mine only. You can have that ability to do that there. At least that's the way I imagine it.
So I've heard that the comment before that what's the price to mint or transfer once Ravencoin hits 100, 1,000, and that kind of stuff. And yeah, so one thing that I think it's always good to keep in mind is what's the market cap of Ravencoin at XYZ price, because even at what $25, maybe $30, Ravencoin would probably be like number two, or maybe number one. I don't know. So I just don't see Ravencoin going to 100. And it's also good to keep people in check when they say Ravencoin's going to reach 1,000. Because that's just misleading others. But no, it's a good point. And then assets are going to continue to get more expensive, and I guess that's what's going to happen if Ravencoin goes up in price. But
Yeah,
I guess
I'm looking at CoinGecko right now to see if Ravencoin would hit $1 right now. It would be probably ninth place right now.
yeah, right.
Yep, yep, that's crazy. If it would hit $2, it would probably be uh, fifth place, and $4 would be
It's
fourth place.
it's the speculation that you're putting out there, Johnny, is inaccurate. And I'm not trying to tear you down. I'm just trying to say that predicting based on the total market of Bitcoin is inaccurate. The reason that Bitcoin is even at 20,000 US dollars equivalent now is because of the really, 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 really limited, actually it's a lot more now because people have been having to sell their coin, but because of the statistically limited amount of coin available in the market.
Right.
If all 18 million Bitcoin were available in the market, Bitcoin might be worth more like $100 instead of 20,000. So
Correct.
if, when it comes to Ravencoin, there's only, let's say, 1 million Ravencoin in the market, that's where the price of Ravencoin will rise. And it could rise to $1,000 pretty easily and still not take the entire market cap to, 200 billion. It's important to note that when you're looking at this, you should be looking at it only about available coins. And since nobody can really know the exact number of available coins in the market, there might be some pretty good estimated guesses. But the same thing goes for Bitcoin. So a lot of people make the mistake of saying, oh, well, because Bitcoin's worth $20,000, it's because there's not a lot of Bitcoin available. And there just isn't.
Yeah, but John, you were running the numbers assuming 12 billion or so of Ravencoin, right?
Yeah, and I didn't want to get too complex with it, so I was just literally just pegging it to $1. But yeah, Jake, you're right. There's a lot of other factors that do play a role into it.
No, these are the factors. I'm trying to make the point explicitly that limitation. I would realize that the total maximum amount of Ravencoin will be 21 billion possible. But if only 1 million of those 21 billion were even available in the market, the price of Raven could literally be $20,000 because there's such a limited amount, even though the total market would be ridiculously high if you calculate it out to its full amount.
I mean, I understand your point, but I think that ignores the power of the community because part of what makes Ravencoin is that it's so decentralized and it's owned by so many people. And if only 100 people owned it in the world, people would be like, what the heck is Ravencoin?
That's not at all what I'm saying. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying the available market is what makes the effective value. The reason
what's the available market?
All right, so what coins are actually being traded or are actually available to trade right now?
Okay, I think I'm understanding.
If there's only 1 million actually available coins to trade, regardless of what coin it is, and there's a really high demand for the price goes up and stays up. When there's a large, like the reason we've been having a price droppage rate lately is because there's not a high demand. People are looking at well, the Terra failure caused everyone else to want to drop their coins. So there's a lot of coins available in the market right now, and that's why the price is low. There's just not a lot of demand. There's a lot of supply. It's supply and demand. It's basic economics. So what I'm trying to say is that right now there is a large supply of Raven total, but not necessarily available. Maybe there is a lot of available coin. Maybe there are, let's say 100 million Ravencoin available for sale on the market right now. But we already looked at that. We know that there was what 5.1 or 5.12 or 1.8 billion Ravencoin. That's just like 43% of the entirety of all coins that exist that are held by one account or one address. So we already know for a fact that roughly 40% or 45%, somewhere in there, of all coins are held and are not currently in the market.
Well, hold on.
So
I thought we agreed. I thought it was understood that that's the Korean exchange.
What I'm saying is that unless those coins are actively available to sell, then they're not in the market.
Yeah, no, I understand what you said. I understand what you said. I think 12 those particular coins are available to buy and sell.
Well, maybe they are, but what I'm saying is that they're all currently in that wallet, and they're not moving out of that wallet very quickly. If they are, then all that market is available. But I think for the most part, those that are being held in that particular exchange are just ones that are held as like collateral. So the active market may actually only be maybe 1 billion coins. The actual traded market. So the active traded market of 1 billion coins times its current US dollar value, let's say, is going to give us what the actual market is.
Yeah,
and not multiplying the current price towards multiplied by the total number of possible coins in the market. That is not, that's just the market cap. It's not the actual
I
market
think
itself.
I think you make a great point, but let me just kind of counter to that in just a few sentences here. So let's just say that because you're right that there's no liquidity essentially, and so there's a lot of the price goes up because there is no Raven coin. People are people is not it's not available in the market. So then the price goes up to $100. Guess what? Me and a bunch of other people are gonna go and sell everything.
Now, that's possible, but unless the gross majority of people sell everything, it's not going to change the price much.
Well, but that's my point. Is the price will go so at some point it'll be so enticing.
That more people will sell, yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but in the short run, like I noticed this with when I owned a lot of Gala token when the game really blew up and started and everybody started buying into it, and especially when it hit Coinbase, I sold a lot of my tokens before the top of the market, mainly because I needed them, but also because I was fine with that price point. At that point, I'd made way more than the value of the tokens that I was originally given. So I was perfectly fine at selling it relatively low. That's the best time to sell. Not at the peak, not when Doge hits 72 cents, but when Doge hits 30 cents. Even now that would be pretty good for Doge. But at one point when Doge was around 28 to 30 cents, that's the best time to sell. Because even though it can go much higher than that, you don't know where it's going to turn around and fall again. So
I like the idea of selling or buying, right? Dollar cost average. So
yeah, all the time, buying constantly. Yeah, yeah. No, I
but
agree with that.
people think about it in terms of buying. I think the same can be said for selling, right?
Yeah, yeah. The one thing I learned in trading, and I'm not saying I'm a day trader anymore, I'm not, is buy regularly, sell regularly, or sell when you need, and don't and buy when you need. But don't buy with the market. Don't buy with the change of the market. When it's going up, you shouldn't be buying. When it's going down, you should not be selling. You should only be buying and selling at your need or your estimate of what is appropriate, and never trade when the market's going up or down, because that's the FOMO or the FUD, and it's just not the best time to act. So, anyways, I'm just trying to get at. I'm not trying to drag anybody down by what I'm saying. I'm just trying to say that there's a misperception about how the value of the market actually is, and most people don't know this, and that's why they trade illogically. But to get back to the DeFi aspect of Evermore, um, my opinion on it, I'm not saying I understand this. I don't yet understand how this is going to work. I think that a lot of people are going to, those who feel like they need to cash out on their initial involvement are going to cash out, but not everyone's going to. Most people are going to think, okay, this is a good idea. Let's continue pushing it. And I can see the same thing with the founders. The founders aren't going to just cash out. They're going to continue with it. They got into this for that purpose. So they're gonna stick with it and continue to push it and continue to make it functional. Like, what was the guy who was talking in the Evermore channel last night? Was talking about how he's going to buy and hold and operate and trade and transact to
Yeah,
try to make the functionality.
that was deadhead. That was
Yeah,
deadheaded. Yeah, and
yeah.
he's a big Ravencoin guy as well. So it doesn't surprise me to see him and they're supporting another chain that's a fork of Ravencoin and pretty much sticking with it. But it's one of those things that does concern me when you see a single address that holds, like you said, 42, 45% of the majority of all coins in existence. It terrifies me to know that if I'm gonna be utilizing my mining rigs to start mining this, am I ever going to profit, or is this particular well going to dump coins? Because they obviously participated in it, so they can dump all these coins and just keep the price down. They're always going to make profit off that no matter what. It's
Can they really do that if they're an exchange though?
Yeah, they don't have you as a customer of Upbit, you don't have the rights to any airdrops or any tokens that are distributed
No,
from
no, no, no.
any
That's
of the
not what I
project.
was saying. Can they really dump Ravencoin if it's really an exchange.
Well, no, that would they wouldn't do it like that. From my understanding, they'll probably go OTC way. The OTC way. Just trade with another well.
Oh, I don't follow that.
Yeah, but that's in regards to the states. From my understanding, that's in Korea. I don't know their laws or their rules, so maybe they are allowed to dump coins.
I
You know,
just
maybe.
it doesn't make business sense. If I am holding you guys this Raven coin and you trust me and we have an agreement, I guess, and then we you guys can buy and trade between yourselves, and I'm just the bridge, right? The
Mhm.
broker. I I could sell all of the Raven coin and disappear, but not if I'm an exchange, right?
No, yeah, right. But I'm not. But I'm not talking about Ravencoin. I'm talking about the airdrop about Evermore.
Oh well, you were saying that you were concerned about the wallet having the ability to dump all the coins.
So considering that they have 42% up to like 45% of the Raven coin, which means that in turn they're owning the majority of that particular snapshot of Evermore owning the majority, right? So they can dump those Evermore coins on the market if they decide to. And they don't own anybody those coins. Those coins are for the exchange themselves.
Yeah, again, it doesn't make business sense for them to dump it, right? Because then they get nothing.
Oh, they gain whatever the is available in the market, any liquidity that's there. You know,
Yeah,
some
I mean, it's
people don't.
possible. I guess it's possible.
Yeah,
You know,
some
the other
people just.
interesting thing though is since you bring that up, um, so they own what 41% of Raven. It's gonna be more. It's gonna be like 50% of ever or more
Oh
if
yeah.
if they claim it.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, that's interesting. I would like to see what now. I kind of want to see this echo effect happen with other chains and see which whales reveal themselves. You know, that own a majority of coins, and it wouldn't surprise me if every single chain out there owns the majority of coins. You know, there's always going to be one person owning or one company owning 50%, 40%, 30% of the coins that are out there in existence when you and I we own 0.00001% of it, you know. And that's when it comes to proof of stake. And now I kind of want to transition this over to proof of stake. Um, when you put that into factor, as you guys know, that Ethereum merged over from proof of work to proof of stake. Now there's obviously a handful of nodes out there, a dozen or so nodes out there, and the majority of them are within the United States, and they're holding the majority of coins. It's like, uh, hello, when you have proof of stake, that means they dictate what is decided on the chain with Evermore, with Raven, with proof of work in general. So Bitcoin, Ravencoin, Evermore, it's proof of work. The miners should ultimately have the decisions to make to fork a chain one way or another. You know, unanimously with a majority vote of 98%. 95%, more or less. That's how it should be. So when you have Vitalik out here saying that, hey, miners, you guys are going to be depreciated from the network, and if you guys even try to challenge it, um, or try to fork it, forget about it, because this is no longer going to be forkable. There will be a time bomb and making it difficult for you guys to mine this network. So you are basically being phased out, forced out of the network because we no longer need you. That is ballsy to think of. Like, what? That's insane. Who the heck would do that, man? You know, this kid that I saw, 17, 18-year old kid that was just writing papers in the Bitcoin magazine and said, you know what? I can probably make a better chain, a better network than what Bitcoin can do. You know, now that is running the number one virtual machine in the world, and has that power to really dictate where this chain goes. That's terrifying. No comments.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
So
Yeah.
the comment that Jake was making earlier about GPUs and CPUs, is that because of Ethereum going to away from proof of work?
Jake.
Sorry, you caught me in the middle of 3 sneezes. Hold on. I didn't want to sneeze on here. Say what you're saying again, JC.
You were saying that when I joined the conversation, you were talking about how now there's more, I don't know, mining power in CPUs than GPUs or something like that, or is more expensive. I don't know, more profitable. Is that change because of Ethereum going away from
Yes.
proof of work?
Yes. So, all right. I'm not. It's not like I'm God and know everything. I'm just making speculation based on my observations. What I've seen is that when proof of work, I mean, and it's not entirely. It's not ETHW and ETH Classic. A lot of stuff went to ETH Classic, particularly people who had ASICs that can't do it anymore. Some of them turned to ETHW, and some of them turned to ETH Classic, and that was never a factor for any of the other chains that some people could bring. But you can with all the GPUs that we were worried about. So GPUs, some people were like, well, okay, I don't want to stop mining, but I can't mine this anymore, so I'll try to mine something else. And they always go to whattomine.com. That's one of the places you can go to check out, see what might be profitable in the short run or the long run. And so a lot of those chains gain a gargantuan amount of GPUs. That also means that their net hashes increased. Now the problem is we're in a bear market. So did the price go up? Yeah, temporarily, but not enough. So what ended up happening is the net hashes of all those other chains went drastically up because everybody else is moving off of Ethereum. That was GPU only. And and the price didn't go up with the net hash increase. So the profit per net hash per card dropped drastically. And in particular for older cards, which I have a lot of, the performance died. I couldn't tell you exactly what the difference was, but I can tell you that the distinction of my best performance back in November of last year versus my current performance, which is almost November now, right? We have 4 or 5 days away, 6 days away. Sorry, it's like a 11-to-1 ratio. I was doing over $1, sometimes as high as $1.50 per card per day. And now I'm doing 11 cents per card per day. That's a gargantuan change. A 10x, a 10x factor. So the best cards out there, if you look at What's Mine as the example, and it's not perfect, it's just an estimate, is like 45, 50 cents per card per day. And my card, which is an older, slower card, it's like 5 years old now, is 10, 11, 12 cents per card per day. So roughly a quarter of the best card on the market. Of course, they're also a lot cheaper. As John asked me earlier, I was looking at prices on eBay. You can get a RX 580 used for under $100, whereas a used NVIDIA 3090 Ti is still going to cost you $800 to $1,200, and it's only 4 times as productive as. I mean, yes, the power usage isn't 4 times as much, but it's only 4 times as productive. So, are you willing to pay 12x for 4 times as much production? No, I'm not. So, yeah, the productivity of GPUs has drastically changed, particularly lately. And as I was trying to make the point before you came in, you may not have heard that this is the best time to mine, not just because GPUs are cheap, but because your competition's less. Now, it's not less because ETH went away. It was less before ETH did go away. I wasn't mining ETH in September. I hadn't been mining ETH since December of last year. But and the thing that still bothers me no end, and I'm sorry to take a aside from this again. If the Dynamar market was better, it would be by far the best coin to mine. There's no competition. You can right now, um, if I mine ETH or if I mine Dynamo, like you said, if there was a market for it, there really isn't much of a market. But if I assume the current market for Dynamo, which is like 3 cents per coin, with my old 580s that I'm using, I can get about 40 Dynamo per day with these ancient cards. 40 times what current price of 0.03? It's $1.20. That is actually really close to the price I was getting a year ago on Ethereum in November of last year. That's still possible right now with Dynamo. But because there's almost no market for it, it's hard to trade, it's hard to get rid of. Is it really worth it? Not really. I need a market that's open, a market that's tradable, but then you can move something on like Caspa or, dare I say it, Meowcoin. Actually, I looked at Nano recently. In fact, I put a video up on my own channel very, very recently, yesterday, yesterday or 2 days, 2 days ago, about why unmineable is so useful. Is you can pick your own coin. They have 50 coins to choose from. Pick the coin, the algorithm you want to mine on, whether it be Kapow or Alkalikos, Beam, Ethereum Classic, Ethereum W, or Monero, and then they pay you out whatever you want. This is the same thing NiceHash does. NiceHash does switch up the what you're mining on instead of picking a particular algorithm, but the advantage therein is that you get whatever coin you want. And so what I was looking for was a coin that would pay out daily. There aren't a lot that do that with the current productivity because you're getting so little money for what you're making. So even if you had a 3090 Ti, you'd be making 40 cents a day. Well, for one card, what of those available coins in unmineable will give you 40 cents worth of anything? Not a whole lot. Most of them will only pay you somewhere between $1.50 and $3 per coin. So you have to wait like 5 or 6 days to get a payout. So I picked Nano, and that's actually what I pointed out in my video, because Nano's current payout is 0.1 nano per day. And 0.1 nano is literally $7, 7 cents, 7 pennies in US dollars, or 7 pence, I guess, is what we're looking at it, looking at like British pounds. So you can get a payout twice daily with just one GPU, or no, one CPU even. And so I pushed a lot of my CPUs over to that, just because I know I get a payout constantly. And Nano's a relatively active market, particularly on Binance. So I know I can trade it easily if I need to.
I saw you created that video. Yeah, if anybody's interested on how to mine the easy way or kind of coins that are difficult to mine, you definitely check out his video. Do you have a link, by the way? You could probably post it. Sure.
I guess I could post it, but I'd have to just a second.
Yeah. Just share the link here in the tweet box. Yeah.
Hey John, I have a suggestion. If you're interested in it, I know you like reading stuff, and I heard you reading the introduction of the white paper for Ever yesterday, and I think it'd be cool, and maybe not tonight, maybe just your leisure, take chunks of the Ever white paper and kind of try to understand or dissect it for the listeners, because I've read it. I tried reading it.
It,
I
it's
couldn't
one of those.
understand.
Yeah, I've read it and I'm the same way, and I think I know where you're going with this. It's one of those things that I can't really just I can imagine things how it's going to be, but unless I actually use it, that's why I'm waiting for the QT to come out so I can tinker with it and understand. Oh, okay, now I know what this the white paper saying in regards to this. Okay, so that's I mean I can make stuff up just with my imagination more or less, but
Well,
I prefer to actually tinker with the QT and understand what the white paper is trying to say.
yeah, it makes sense. I guess what I was saying is if you read it, maybe read a paragraph, and then Jake and others that can help between 3 or 4 people, maybe it'll make more sense. Just a thought.
Yeah, yeah. I think we'll wait out on that until the QT comes out. But yeah, it's a good idea. I definitely do something. But I've also gotten feedback, positive and negative, in regards to me just reading direct papers like that. So it's one of those things I got to play with and try to understand, like, what do people want, what do people not want. Yeah, we'll play with it and try to figure it out. All right, we got Nocturnal. We got Mike in here. What's up, you guys? Um, oh, Mike's in the house. Yeah. So Mike helped out a lot. We got the Ravencoin Torch is now officially part of the Ravencoin ecosystem for the year 2022. That's going to be distributed in Braveland on this Saturday at the Ravencoin Global Awards. So if anybody wants to participate, I'm going to make I guess quick instruction on how to do it, because last year people were confused on how to do it. So more or less the way that the game is played, it's a game of trust within the community, and obviously the first thing you should have is a Raven coin asset aware address, which you will be able to post in Braveland. Obviously, the first person that does post will receive it directly from me, right? I have 1 million minted. I will only keep one of the torches. In the game of trust within the community is that they too will play along and only keep one of those torches and pass the remaining to the next person that they see their Raven aware address in the text box, chat box in Braveland, and then pass it on, so on and so forth. And the idea is to have it distributed all around the world. And it's a game of trust and unity within the Ravencoin community. So I want to see this torch travel as far as possible all around the world. So last year we did actually go through multiple states, which was pretty cool. A lot of people did participate. So it was awesome to see the torch travel around just within the states. But this year's goal, I definitely want to see it travel to other countries. So I want to make that the 2022 goal. So make sure that you guys join us in Braveland this Saturday, 12 p.m. 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time, in Braveland. If you guys don't know how to download Braveland, the link would be rvnawards.com. That's the most easiest way to download Braveland and to read all the instructions on how to participate in all the activities that is going on. There's a lot of activities, trust me. We got a lot of stuff going on for that particular event. So check that out. Thanks, Mike, for putting that together, man. It came out nice. The community loved it. The whole group behind the scenes, they're excited to get that going, man. Everyone's ready for it. Looks good. All right. Anything else, Jake, before we wrap it up?
No, the only thing I wanted to say about the Raven Torch is I really wanted it to happen. I was actually the last person I was supposed to go to last year before we had a little bit of a foul up with one of the people who was playing. I think that we need to get the idea of how to pass the Raven Torch out shown more prevalently in order for people to understand how it works. I know that one thing that I would like to do, and I haven't done it yet, is to at least demo on multiple wallets, not just on the one that I use most, like the Zelcore wallet, but to demo on multiple wallets, like a web wallet and Zelcore wallet and other Mega wallets, or any kind of wallet we can do that's asset aware, to show people how simple it is to receive the torch and then pass the torch on. And I honestly feel like the reason that it failed last time was not because of the greed of anyone. It's not like the asset has physical value. The thing that people need to understand is it's not complicated, but some people just get befuddled and just not just confused, but like disappointed in not doing it and feeling like they can do it quickly. If you've done it multiple times, if you've passed multiple assets, yeah, that's normal. People have made assets, they already understand it. But anybody who's never done an asset before or never made their own asset before is going to be going, I don't know how to do this. And they're just going to like, I give up and walk away. But at that point, they've already been handed handed the torch, and we need them to continue the procession. If we teach people how to do it, then they will be much, much, much more familiar with the idea and much more likely to continue passing the torch. So just depending on people's desire to participate isn't the only thing, in my opinion, that needs to happen. It also
Yeah.
needs to be this. Oh, I know how to do that. Okay, I can do this really quickly, and within 5 minutes they're done.
Yeah. So Jake, earlier in the meeting that we had just right before this Twitter Spaces, we're literally just talking about creating a video. So Jake, if you would do the honors and create that, that would be awesome. We can definitely distribute that, post it on the website. But we definitely need something like that as soon as possible because this event is happening in 3 days. Can you believe it? 3 days. It's crazy how time flies.
I need to dig more into how to myself. I have sent assets, so I know how to do it, but it's just like you said, only on Zelcore. I need to figure out how to do it for multiples. The only other thing I was going to say is, and I'm not trying to take this away from the meaning, the ultimate meaning here, but I know that if there was an easy, simple, like web interface methodology where a person could just go and click on an address and it would give them the instructions, or else maybe even help them do it from a website, man, that would be so much more likely that people would pass on the torch. So I don't know how to do that. I'm just saying that would, in my opinion, make it more likely for people to want to pass the torch. Oh, I just find a list of people who I can pass the torch to. Okay, well, here we go. And at the same time, it would also pass them the video and or the how-to of moving the torch on, so that the next person, if they didn't know it, see it coming, would know what to do.
Yeah, that was another thing brought up in one of our meetings as well, and that will be posted on the website as well. So, what's going to happen first is it's going to be distributed, hopefully within the community that's there in Braveland, and hopefully they understand the instructions clear enough to have an asset-aware address. And I think by now, folks understand. I'm hoping that folks understand. In comparison to last year, folks understand what an asset-aware address is, but it's still not guaranteed because just like Jake, this torch can go anywhere it wants. I can literally hand it to one person, and that person can literally just take it out of Braveland and hand it to somebody else on the other side of the world. It doesn't necessarily have to stay in Braveland for that particular event. That's the beauty of it, is that once you give it to somebody, they ultimately decide what it is. So it's a game of trust and and unity with the Ravencoin community. That's what I really like about it, dude. People were like stressing about it when you have all of this responsibility on you. Now everybody is just relying on you. Please continue, like you said, the procession. Just continue it because we want this to not die. So
right, but one of the things that's very explicitly known about the torch, like the Olympic torch, of which this is probably based, is that the person who's doing the torch delivery usually knows fully where they're going with it, how long they're going to be holding it, what had happened if the flame burns out. It probably isn't going to, but even if it does, that there's someone there to help you deal with that. People are going along with you. There's a whole group of people. It's this whole community almost running with you while you're carrying the torch.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're really alone on it anyways. And if we're not making it like that, then we're not really doing it right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there was a couple of things that happened last year that played a factor. One of it is, and at the time I didn't really know. I know this now, but every wallet has different amount of um, transaction confirmations. For example, with if you have Ravencoin QT, you can basically instantaneously transfer that asset right then and there after like one or two confirmations, pretty quick. Now, something like Mango Farms wallet, you have to wait a minimum of 30 confirmations, which is 30 minutes, more or less. So when people are using those type of wallets, obviously there's other wallets out there that are asset aware that have their set limitations, and I think the standard right now is 30 confirmations because the 30 is the maximum reorg number, just in case there's any manipulation within the network, right? So a wallet provider doesn't want there to be any manipulation that's in their custody. So they won't release anything until those 30 transaction confirmations. And then thereafter, you're more than welcome to withdraw however you want. So that also has to be explained as well to people that deciding on what wallets you're using. Oh, and also there's some wallets that do require you to sync. For example, the Ravencoin Core mobile wallet did require you to sync the QT which was a horrible idea, but unfortunately that's what was out there. And so if you end up with a wallet like that, that's all bad. But from my understanding, that wallet's no longer part of Ravencoin. It's been delisted, if I'm not mistaken. Go ahead, JC.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. I just thought I realized you're doing this in Braveland, um, but as you said, it probably get out of Braveland at some point. It'd be great if there was some other way for people on Twitter to kind of follow along on what's happening. And I don't know what that looks like, but one thought was if you received the torch, then you can put a little flame on your PFP or something like that. What do you think of that?
That's actually awesome. That's an awesome idea. I'll let the team know about that. Yeah, I know that there was some talk about putting people's Raven asset aware address on the website. So if after the event, if anybody wanted to just utilize trusted people in the community, they can just go to the website and pretty much select anybody that hasn't participated, and they'll be able to receive the torch and just pass it along to the next person. But aside from that, of course, there's the Ravencoin Global Awards. We're doing 10 bag giveaways, random giveaways, lottery giveaways for anybody that's participating in Braveland. A tweet will be actually, I think the tweets have already gone out from the team. So if you are following hashtag RVN Awards 22 lottery, you'll see some tweets going out that pretty much if you like and retweet those tweets, you'll be able to participate in the lottery, which means that you have to be there in person in Breadland for the event. And these bags do hold a Raven coin. They do hold some very, very amazing assets. And those are, you can literally go to the website, rvnawards.com, check every single address to see exactly what's in them. If you want to donate more assets in them, you're more than welcome to. It's just this is for the community, it's by the community for the community, and that's pretty much why I'm spearheading this. It's backed by the community. I want to make it as community involved as possible, and so far I am blessed to say that the community is supporting and making this a reality. you know it's amazing, man. It's amazing how many people want this to happen, and I hope that we can see everybody there, this Saturday, 12 o'clock Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern in Braveland. Make sure you bring a suit and tie. It is a red carpet event, so look classy, all right? All right, so we done? I think we're done. Let's call it a night. We got a lot. I guess I have a lot of stuff to do for the Ravencoin Global Awards. So Cryptonauts, Ravenites, and what are they called? Evernights? Evernights all around the world. Until next time, thanks for watching. Stack Sats and Huddle. Adios.